Alrighty. Uh, just so you know, that was actually a problem on my end. My housemates was uploading something that was causing the connection to die. But everything should be fine now because they're not going to be doing that during the stream. Alright, so welcome to another installment of Head Drawing. Before we begin, I want to show you a little preview of what we're going to be doing later this week. Probably Wednesday and Thursday. And also I want to tell you a little bit about what the Saturday animation class is going to be. Yes, there's going to be an animation class now on Saturdays. So, this is what I've been doing, like, this last week and up to today. These were done today, actually. So were these. But most of these were done in the last, 3 or 4 days, I think. At least, since Wednesday. Last week, but these are of course torso anatomy, mostly focused on front torso anatomy, but I'm also starting to get into back. We're going to be doing more torso anatomy stuff on Wednesday and Friday, but also Wednesday we're going to be doing some more gesture-oriented stuff using this. Friday will probably be more kind of formulaic anatomy. Either or, we'll probably mix it up. But anyway, so what we're going to be doing today is some more of the stuff we did last week, but we're also going to be dipping into facial expressions and some other things. So to show you what we did last week, and let me see if I can get some of the images that I got. Actually, I think I can just link them from my Patreon. That would probably be the best way to show where they're archived. So, alright, so this is my Patreon. I'm going to go into your published posts. And then I'll show you what we were doing last week. Last week and the week before, also, for head drawing. So I did this one last Monday, and these were draw-over studies on Katsushiro Otomo art with margin doodles and stuff, where I was also trying to do head construction rules and stuff. So this is what I'm going to have people doing tonight. I'm going to show people how to yoink images, and I'm going to show them the technique that they use to draw over studies, and I'm going to show them how they should be doing their kind of margin doodle practice here. Yeah, here 1 second. Make it brown rice with extra veggies.
Oh, this place doesn't have brown rice.
That's fine. Just do that. All right. I can eat rice once. Extra veggies then. But anyway, alright, so what we're going to be doing is more of this stuff. A mixture of drawing over existing cool-ass work, like this, and a mixture of original studies, with an emphasis this time on facial expression stuff. We're only going to be touching a little bit. We're only going to be touching a little bit on facial anatomy. It's dipping our toes in it a little bit. It's see what's happening here is I'm starting to get into way more into anatomy, so I'm going to start bringing that more into what we do in our head drawing classes. So next week on Monday we are going to be going a lot harder into anatomy. Specifically, we're going to be going very hard into anatomy on facial expressions, because there's one book in particular that I'm going to recommend people try to get a hold of if they can. It is a book called Anatomy of Facial Expressions, a facial expression, by Oldis something. It's the same people. It's the same people who made Anatomy for Sculptors, which is another book that I'm also using using for my study stuff. Some of you might recognize some of the drawings that I did, kind of freehand copy studies of on the torso stuff. But this is a thing that I actually have with me as a cheat sheet. We're not going to be going too far into it today. We'll be touching a little bit on some of the facial muscle groups, just a little bit. We're not going to be going too far into facial expression. We'll be playing with facial expression. We'll be trying to find faces to draw over today to do our studies on that have good expressions on them so that we can play with. So it's just kind of dipping our toes in it, continuing what we were doing last week. So beginners, don't worry. Like we're going to be doing the same. We're going to be doing the same kind of beginner drills we did last week. But anyway, so I'm going to make a new file actually out of a previous template I had. I think I actually saved the template here. Here we go. Yeah, this is a pre-saved version of the second template, I think. This one's a little bit larger, so I think I might try using it this time, because there might be a little bit more room for me to play with stuff, especially on the margins on this. So I'm gonna duplicate this to see what size this is, so that you guys can use it. Yeah, this one needs to be 6K. That's the wrong one. I think the C one is the one that's the 6K one. Either 6K or 4K. Oh yeah, this is the 6K one. Okay, well I could just upload that to the Discord chat for y'all. So so what I want you to do is I want you to take this thing. I'm uploading it to the classroom chat right here. We're going to be using this as a brand new template. And what we're going to be doing is there's another thing I want you to download if you don't have it currently downloaded, called PureRef, and that's this right here. So I want you to download this. It's free, by the way, and install that. If you don't have it, or if you're using like a mobile device or something like that, it's okay. We're just yoinking images from the internet to draw over, basically, and this makes it a little bit easier. So when you have that, bring it up. This is one of the things I was using during last. This is PureRef right here, and this is some of the reference that I was using for anatomy studies. So save that. That's saved, and then you see. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to be yoinking images of heads I want to draw from the internet. And one of the things I'm going to be yoinking from is a very humanistic anime series I like a lot, called one of my all-time favorites anime series. Not sure quite how to pronounce it, but Planetus or something. It's like a Greek word that means the wanderers, and it's about near future space travel, like realistic near future space travel, basically. It's a really fantastic series. I strongly recommend it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yank kind of like a mixture of different images of the characters and different expressions and stuff to start with. There's another few other series that I'm also going to be yoinking stuff from too. If you notice, I'm just using PureRef to just drag and drop stuff. I want to get a good mix of heads here. Heads and expressions. They can be broad or subtle expressions and stuff. And I don't have to really overdo it. I just have enough. I just need to get enough to like really fill up the columns. Preferably with characters who have, preferably with the same character a bunch. Let's see if I can find some other ones of her with very different expressions, because she's got kind of the same head angle for a lot of them. Here, he's got a different type of face, but he's very stoic in the show, so he doesn't change his expression very much. But I can still use him a little bit. And the other series I'm going to be grabbing is a series called Space Brothers. That one actually has, well, actually, Planets has a manga for it too. I'm going to be using, so I could use from the manga too, but Space Brothers also has a manga that has really good illustrations in it that I could probably also use. But let's see, Space Brothers. Let's see if I can grab some stills from that, because there might be some faces to grab from it. I can't find any, it's good. I've got enough to work with here to bring them into the drawing template. Yeah, I'm not really seeing any particularly good shots of faces that I could probably use for that, so that's okay. Let's see here. Last one is the last one I'm going to be yoinking is Space Dandy faces. This one will probably be really good actually to yoink for faces. The Space Dandy's got a pretty broad range of expressions, and very exaggerated. He goes from exaggerated to subtle a lot in the show, which is fantastic because like the ethos of the series is that whoever's directing the episode gets to do whatever they want with the character. So you get like very different takes on the character and his overall mood. So I'm gonna yoink a bunch of Space Dandy because why not? Thankfully, like people have identified that this series has really good faces in it, so there's a lot of people who've already yoinked or clipped good facial expressions to play with. Even something crazy like that. I don't think I'd be using that because it doesn't really have the head construction I want to drill for today. I'll get a few more here, and if I want more, then I can get more. But oh geez, this character. I think I'll get him. Yeah, why not? The depressed alternate universe version of Space Dandy. I'll just grab this one too. Alright, so let's make sure I save this. Space Heads. I'll just save that as Space Heads 1A. And if you want to use the PureRef stuff I'm using, I'm going to upload that to chat real fast for you. Let's see. There we go. It's only an 8 meg file. You can download it and use it in PureRef and load it in PureRef. The planet is about space garbage men. Yes, that is what the series is about. Let me get rid of Gohan on the screen up there. I hope I don't get copyright pointed because that little video was looping up over there in the corner. There was no music on it, but yeah. So let me see. I'm gonna pick a desktop background here, or I can keep it as that. I mean, that's a pretty neat one. Yeah, I'll just keep it as that for now. I'm not gonna fiddle with that. We're going to get into the drawing right now. So, all right. So what I got here, I'm gonna save this as a studio format. Let's see here, one day head. Update it. I gotta get more organized in my file stuff. Like I'm shamefully badly organized right now. Your desktop is a bit of a mess. I gotta get on top of that. But so what I'm gonna do is, let's see here. I'll just magic wand all these little squares here. Actually, I don't even really need to do that, but well, this helps actually. Do that. Create a new layer. White background in there. Down there. Let's see, white BG. Lock that. Cool. Alright, so now what I got is I'm going to create a folder for reference. And we're going to be keeping organized with these right now, so Day 11, 30, 20, 20. head drawing demos. Yeah, there we go. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just do this like in the most brute forcey way possible. I think I'm gonna start actually with Space Dandy because he's got a good range of expressions to work with. So I can actually just like start with this file right here. I'll stretch this out about to where I need it to be. Here. Honestly, I think that. Let's see. I think over this file, I'll make an exception about it. This one is already formatted for like me doing draw over studies, so instead of cropping it to the other ones, I can just put it like this. That's pretty good. It's pretty good size on the page. It leaves enough room on like at least one side of the margins for me. And now I can add more heads to the rest of the page. So let's scoot that up a little bit, just so it looks better. Alright, so for the rest of them, I'll show you how to get started with it. Actually, let's spend a little time to set up our page real quick. What I want you guys doing is just like, for example, let's grab some more Space Dandy faces. Let's grab this one of the depressed Space Dandy. And just kind of get them in there, like propped in there for you to play with, basically. So let's grab at least like 3 more of them real fast. We can grab the rest we need later, for the rest of the page. But we have like more than enough to work with on half the page to get started right now. Grab this nice little profile view right here of Space Dandy. I say that's good enough size. I'll keep that there. Like, I don't want to spend a huge amount of time like propping and readjusting and moving and moving around stuff. We'll get like right to the drawing pretty soon. So just get stuff relatively in the ballpark where we need it. And if you want to save yourself some time, I'll upload this incomplete version of this page to the chat. Just feel free to like scratch over my name on this, or add your name to mine or something. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So I'll upload this to chat. So you can use this for the draw over stuff. Got it to save real quick. Real quick being an operative word. Oh, there we go. There we go. Alright, so that is now uploaded to the classroom chat, or it should be. Jesus Christ, it's 17 megs. That might actually not upload. But anyway, try to set up your page a little bit like mine. We're gonna get started now. So maybe I should lower up. Well, yeah. What I should probably do on this is I should make another layer like that. rectangle. This. There we go. The lower opacity on this. Rough. Okay. There we go. Now I can lower opacity on the other reference back there. And now we're going to get started with doing some head drawovers. So the main video that we're going to be using right here is a video from the Discord community I'm of course a part of and I'm a moderator in, Ethan Becker's art YouTuber Ethan Becker's Discord. So if you want to get some like, so I'm not going to play that. I played this like twice last week. I played this video twice last week, but this this video is essentially the main bit of what we're going to be studying today. Except we're going to be layering some. We're going to be layering a little bit of facial expression stuff, and some face anatomy ideas onto face today. We'll be dipping like very slightly into face anatomy today. But essentially, like, what we're doing right here is like this face wedge that you're seeing right here that you can then use on like the nose and other things like that. It's this kind of like Muppet mouth sandwich thing. And actually, I think I'll actually leave this on screen so you have this as a point of reference for what we're doing. Here, if I can find a good pause point here, like I had last week, like that. So I'll put this up here to remind you what we're doing, and we'll kind of just like mimic what we're doing and mimic what it is having us do. I'm going to link the video in both the chats so that you guys can refer to the video yourselves. You guys can refer to the video yourselves while you're doing this. I would suggest even like pausing it at certain points if you need some ideas and stuff. But basically what I want you to do is like grab either photographs or like characters or art from existing artists you want to study and learn from. And we're going to maybe go into some photographs today if we have time for it. Maybe like 3 or 4 photographs to do studies from too, probably when we get to some anatomy stuff. But let's see, I'm going to bring for my own, what's going to be happening on my own screen here, I'm going to be bringing up the facial anatomy reference cheat sheet stuff I'm going to have on the side, because we're only dipping our toes into facial anatomy stuff today. So don't get too caught up in that. It's just a little taste, little tasty taste for now. If we can find it. Can't find it offhand. Bring it up later. Let's just get started with our warm-up, shall we? So this is not going to be timed. We'll be taking little breaks every now and then and stuff. I want people to do this at their own pace and chill out and kind of vibe with the stream stuff. There's not going to be any on-screen timed drawings or anything like that. We're going to be doing this how we did class last week. This is basically just like your time to kind of chill out and vibe with what we're doing together here. Which is like Tom Sawyer and trying to make the process of studying this stuff a little bit more fun by doing it together. This is my study time as much as it is yours right now. Like, I'm doing this to get some head drills in because I've been doing a ton of like torso anatomy. So I'm going to talk through a little bit of what I'm doing. I'm just doing one to start to kind of remind myself of what I'm doing before I start talking my way through it. But I will tell you a little bit about what I learned doing these, and you can try to strive for and get out of them. Then we'll start talking a little bit more about facial expressions and dipping a little bit into face anatomy. It's going to take me a little bit to kind of get warmed up. I'm kind of bringing back the muscle memory of what we did last week. A little bit. One thing I like doing is I like adding the cylinder to the neck. I was doing that last week. But we got a pretty broad facial expression right here. One of the things that's happening here is Dandy's jaw is actually opening up. So if we're looking at Dandy in profile right here, I'll use Spacedad as a stand-in for Dandy. But like normally when your mouth is closed, your head from profile would look a little something like that. But when it's open, this little hinge back here that makes up your jaw tilts down. So Dandy's jaw is doing something like this. So this is like cartoony exaggeration version of what's happening there. It's a very itty bitty drawing for the page, so I'm gonna size that up a bit more. Pretty good. I just wanted as a little note. But that's like one example of something to be as far as facial expression anatomy goes. So I'm still going to be getting a little bit warmed up in the technique that we're using tonight. But don't worry about like if you don't get this right first try, because I've been doing a bunch of them, and the point of doing these is to like just drill it so it becomes second nature to do these. It's a way of simplifying the shapes of the face so you can wrap your head around them, or wrap your head around the 3D forms a little easier. And you can also layer other techniques for drawing the head and other things in there as well. They also don't have to be perfect. Like, you're just trying to expose yourself to the stuff and learn one or two things from them. So that reminds me, I'm not going to be drawing Dandy's hair right now, but hair is something that I want to get into in the future, because that's very important for characters and just in head drawing in general, really. So, alright, so I'm going to walk you through how to, let's find maybe a little more neutral expression for Dandy to use. There's one right here. So here's how you generally would walk through this technique. You can actually use the visor shape as kind of a starting point. You would kind of plot out about where the eye line would be roughly, and then probably the next step you'd use is loop the eye line down around to the corners of the nose, like that. And then we're kind of using the flexible brow of a cartoon character, a pliable mass like here. So we're kind of following that a bit. Beware of the corners here of the brow, by the way. And then you'd want a center line kind of going down like this, falling over a bit where the nose is. Oh, actually before that, what you want to do is you want to think of like the nose is like so you're looking at it from like above in the profile view, above in 3/4 view. The nose has like this kind of ring that's coming off of that bottom thing. It's like the nose is this kind of little wedge plane or something down there. Sticking out. Get like the center line in there. Then you can go further. You can start using the same sort of thing on the eyes. Remember, there's a top and a bottom part to these. Sort of like what Ethan color codes in the video up in the corner here. Like, there's a whole lot of like these kind of Kermit the Mouth, Muppet mouths that are going all up and down the face, basically. You've got one even when the mouth is closed, like the top of the lip and the bottom of the lip, both like kind of stick out how they work. Dandy's design is such that that isn't really drawn out, but you can infer it. Like, the idea of it is still going to be there, because Dandy's face kind of works like a little bit like how a real face works. It's a cartoon character. Then you got under the chin, you got another one of those Muppet mouths. Right here. Dandy's mouth is kind of cockeyed because he's kind of doing a little smirk here. So his mouth is aligned a bit differently from how the chin is. But the chin's got its own little kind of wedge going out and in and down like that. Get like this kind of in, out. And then there's another one that goes in, and then it goes out at the nose and stuff, working down the face, kind of. In for the top of the nose, and then up. Then another one happening up here with this kind of wedge right here. And one other thing you can do is you can kind of plot this wedge in here. And if you want to break down the shapes further, you can kind of do this for the eye sockets. But you don't have to. So other things you can do is you can start like breaking down, like, you can add like his jaw shape. Comes off the sides here. Changes direction here. This curve down here. So for the jaw, there's actually like this, and then there's this, and of course the very bottom of the chin. You can kind of see the directions that this is changing. Like, this is a little bit more kind of bulged there, and then this is a little more straight there, and then this one's a little bit more kind of straight upside the face there. Like, be aware of that. That's the general kind of rhythms of the jaw, basically. And it's especially pronounced on like a cartoon character like this. I'm just throwing the ears in there. You should think of the ears as like kind of a flat plane that's kind of turning back in space. But here, just for this angle, you can like throw like something on top of it to kind of reinforce that a little bit. Another thing to note about thinking about how the eyes and the eyeballs work. So you do have the Kermit mouth thing going on here, but then you kind of maybe imagine like if Kermit had his mouth around an eyeball. Basically. That's what's happening with your eyes, with the eye shape, pretty much. Ethan kind of simplifies it the idea a little bit. And how he draws it up there. But you can think of it that way. And the other stuff you're going to want to do is, well, you want to kind of guesstimate about where, like, top of Dandy's head is. his cartoon character exaggeration is such that like I think the bottom of his jaw might be, if we could see the rest of his skull, the bottom of his jaw might be bigger than his head. On most people's proportions for the heads, like it goes something like this. Like here's you start with your head sphere, cut across the head sphere. That is your brow line. Top of the hairline is about here. If and the jaw would be about the jaw. So anyway, so the whole length of the head right here, you divide that in half, and that is where your eye line is. That means like the jaw from the eye line is getting about, makes up about roughly half the face. But you see like when I started with that sphere right here. That's actually, this right here is actually a simplified approach to that, because like this is essentially like the similar kind of rhythm that you would get doing a head sphere to the face that you can also kind of use to kind of plot about where the nose is a little bit, except this is extruded onto the front of the plane of the face. So it's like an abbreviation of these things that go into this kind of head drawing, head construction approach. That you'd see like in Andrew Loomis stuff that we studied before here, like the Loomis heads. So for Andy here, good way to start wrapping your head around what he's doing here is maybe you want to kind of figure out, kind of guesstimate where the top of his head is, about there. And then like you can kind of use this bottom shape of the mouth of the, you don't have to follow it exactly, but that can kind of help give you some grounding a little bit to help you guesstimate about where his cranial mass is. I'm kind of guesstimating what feels right. Like how would Space Dandy look with his head shaved? Basically, probably something like this. It's going to be slightly more of an emphasis on the proportion of his jaw than the top of his head, but this is still pretty close and even. And then one thing I like doing is, well, here, let's get the side planes of the head in. Right here. So if you see what Ethan's doing up in the video reference up top, there's a part in the video where he touches on like what Stan Prokopenko does, using like the Andrew Loomis head method to sort of like plot out where the side planes of the head are. So you can find it here. It's using like this tool right here. So that's what this is right here. Like that little kind of like crash test dummy looking side to the head. That's like a tool to figure out like the directional facing of the side plane of the head, basically. And the basic functionality of the Andrew Loomis head sphere is that you take a sphere, you chop the sides off the sphere, basically. And you add this kind of crash test dummy looking sort of crisscross to it, like that. And you can use that as like the basis for like plotting out your head. Find maybe like this, you find like the center line. Here's a trick right here. You can go diagonally up on that crash test dummy pattern to find about where your hairline is, as long as you're wrapping it over. You have to wrap it. You have to wrap these lines over this because this is a sphere. And you can find like the top point of the head like that. Use that on your center line. Drop your jaw down, stuff. But you can use this method to like find just about any angle of the head, like depending on like where that side plane is. You can just use it for. I'm really like practiced in using it, so I'm just gonna shorthand it to show a few different versions of it. But it's a really like if you're intuitive with it, it's like a really handy dandy way to kind of wrap your head around the direction of the head and find that side plane. And as a rule of thumb, like this part of the crash test dummy head, that's the top of the ear. This is the dividing line between the jaw and the ear, for example. But anyway, what Ethan's doing here is he's taking that kind of same idea and he's simplifying it, so he can just jump right into drawing a character head that still has like the structure built in of the same idea. I think he actually, like, in this, somewhere at this point in the video, like, he actually shows a little crisscross side plane head right there. You can kind of see it. Get the video to load at the right spot. A little aggravating. There we go. Yeah, you can see he's got like the kind of crisscross side plane. So on that note, we are going to take a kind of a view of Spacedad over here that is a similar angle to the angle that Ethan used. And I'm going to just jump right in with finding my eye line. Remember, we're going through this as a procedure. Find my eye line. Get that bottom swing down through the corners of the sides of the nostrils. Get that kind of brow shape right there. And it's a wedge. It's the Kermit the Frog wedge. Like, you could even put like Muppet eyes on it if that helps. Then we got the center line right here going on the nose, kind of. Dandy's eye placement is a little exaggerated here, but his eyes still kind of work the same way as the other stuff we've been doing. So then we can start working on the side plane of the head now. Got right here, divide between the jaw and the jawline and the ear. Add the jaw in there. I'm not going to get caught up too much. Actually, no, here's what I'm going to do for this facial expression. I'm going to simplify this top point, this top of the lip there, even though it's like open on his teeth, and I'm going to make that into like kind of duck lips right there to just simplify those planes. And I can add like a little optional chin divot there. There's another plane right here for the top of the lip right there. In addition to that, I can maybe drop like a line like this to further describe the side plane of the cheek and the head. Kind of curve it down a little bit like that. Which is a little bit like what I do on the Loomis heads, where, let me show you. So when I'm doing like the side plane of the head, I have like the jaw taken care of and stuff. I do like this kind of S-curve shape there, and you can see it over here too, coming down from the cheek, basically. So taking this further, let me get some of the forehead. So we got like this sort of wedge here that's of the brow sticking out. Cranial mass of the head. I'm going to kind of rough out about where I think his head is behind the hair. Right here. I'm thinking that his hairline is somewhere up inside here, because his pompadour comes forward. His like hairline is like about like there. So it's lost up inside there somewhere. We actually see the side plane of his head thanks to the shading here. So we can use that to play off of for the side plane of his head a bit. I'm going to kind of guesstimate where I think the back of his head is. Probably be a little bit further out than I drew up top of the head. Let's guesstimate to something that seems kind of like it feels right. Throw the ear in. And of course we can get this in there and Remember what I told you about, like, that part of the crisscross means is the top of the ear line? Well, now we can kind of do this. Do roughly about the top of his brow, actually a little bit under it, because like this eyebrow is like raised up a bit. So maybe the tilt is about, and the tilt is actually probably about something like that. I think the tilt is actually curving too. I'm gonna do like the side of the nose a little bit there. Maybe add some more to the eye sockets. He's kind of doing, here we go. Actually, we can use this back of the neck here to find more of the head. Where the cranial mass is up over here. So knowing how the back of the head works, it would probably be something more like this. That kind of curve from the back of the skull. You post lesson recordings anywhere? Yes, I do. They're on my YouTube. My YouTube link is down below. Let's just carve into this a little bit to add the teeth in. So why not? And add a little bit of dimensionality to the ear a bit. I'm just going to look for little opportunities to insert bits of the detail of facial expression, like the furrowed brow, for example. And I'm going to use an opportunity to point out the anatomy of the sternomastoid right here, which is one of the things that we're covering in our torso anatomy, including the neck anatomy in that. This is an opportunity to, it's not facial anatomy, but this is neck anatomy. So we get Dandy's Adam's apple right here, I think, down from his scrunched chin. It's doing kind of a double chin effect there. But we got the sternomastoid right here, coming down all the way down here to roughly about where the insertion of the collarbone is, or the pit of the neck. So that means Dandy's collarbone is probably going to be doing something like this, around these sides, I would say. And the other part of the sternomastoid connects up to it like that. So you get this kind of shape. Make sure I have this saved. But what I'm talking about is this thing right here, the sternomastoid, and then there's the trapezius behind it. A little bit of a touch on how that works. Get some other drawings of that here. Yeah. So that's a little opportunity to kind of throw a little bit of anatomy practice in. Like, you can be holistic about your studies and insert, because you're going to have to like use every part of the buffalo, so to speak, when you're drawing. It pays to kind of like insert bits of studies of other related things sometimes. Especially if you, like, I'm already pretty familiar with this Ethan Becker head wedge approach, so now I'm able to layer in some more anatomy study knowledge into it because I'm more comfortable with using it. Let's see, actually, maybe I should do a profile view. So we got Dandy in kind of a profile view here. I think he's kind of, like, if we could see through his head, his ear would be down, his other ear would be somewhere down there a little ways. You want to guess? So I'm going to kind of wrap his eye line like this in front of his head. Actually, I think it would be better if I did. 1 second. I did make it a straight but slightly bent line. Better. Right. No, actually, if I start with this, then I can maybe find the eye line a little bit easier. And it's all about wrapping your head around what's going on here. Add like a little bit of an indication of his nose right there. the underside of his nose. Then we got corner of the brow there. Profile's a little tricky to get this wedge in there. I'll actually probably go. Actually, I can probably go a little bit further with it. Here, let's give it a little bit more space. Yeah, that works better. Let's get the next one in. Then I can get these wedges in here. The lips. Wedge for the underside there of... I forget what part that the above the upper lip part. I forget what that's called. I got the chin. Remember those components of the jaw I told you about, like 1, 2, 3, and I guess 4 if you count the bottom of the chin right there. Throw his ear in there. Little interior shape there for more dimensionality. You're like darkening this side so it seems more dimensional, or the other side. Yeah. Do a little bit of the top of the nose there. Add the eye in, because why not? Let me get the front of the brow here, and his hairline be about here, I think. Sweep back. We can use a little bit of like the neck that's even not getting covered up by part of the hair. We can use part of the neck to kind of sort of guesstimate about his head shape a little bit. This is a guesstimation, of course, because we can't really see his head right now, so we kind of have to approximate about where cranial mass is. And then, now we get to have fun with anatomy again. So, let's do that again. Little sternomastoid. So it comes down from like the base of the ear, there, down to an anchor point at the nape of the neck, somewhere around, probably further up actually, but somewhere around here. Let's say it's about there. And then Dandy's collarbone is going to be doing this side, like this kind of profile view collarbone. Don't worry about drawing out the whole collarbone right now, but I just get like enough of it so you can get like this part of the sternomastoid for the heck of it. Actually, one other part I'm going to add in is the trapezius, which starts at the base of the back of the head, right here, and actually continues on down the back. What it does up here is it actually inserts itself into the top of the deltoid, right there, and it creates this kind of gap area. Top of the neck. Here's Dandy's Adam's apple right there. So there we go, little anatomy study. If you don't want to do the anatomy study, you can just kind of do like this kind of seeker cylinder thing. But the trapezius that I'm talking about, we'll be getting into again when we start actually studying more back anatomy more, because more of the back anatomy is visible. It's kind of a crappily drawn trapezius, but that's a really crappily drawn trapezius. But it's this thing right here. It interconnects with your muscles really interestingly. I'll be doing more drills on back anatomy. You can see like I've been getting more practice in frontal anatomy, and this back anatomy is kind of cruddy, especially in this area. It gets a little better down here though. Back anatomy is seriously complex though. That's why I've been holding off on undoing it instead of getting everything at once. While we're at it, let's maybe throw in a little bit of anatomy here for Dandy's sternomastoid. Let's kind of guesstimate his collarbone right there, something like that. It'd have to be perfect. This is kind of like quick anatomy shorthand notes. Remind myself, oh yeah, this exists. Let's give like a slight little judgment call workout. So you can actually see where his other part of his neck, which is the sternomastoid coming out the side of the neck there. This other side that we see more of it because he's turned more towards us. That would probably be a little bit more visible. We'd see more of the sternomastoid. Sitting here, we get like the back of the head. Continuing down over there. Another one over there. Yeah, let's keep moving on with this stuff. But what I want to see is I want to see people doing this too as we keep moving in. Raboots do drawovers. These are freehand, but I want to see you do drawovers because these are looking kind of out of whack. I want you to wrap your head around the three-dimensionality of it. Like really kind of go for those side planes. If you get lost, try doing a pass on it where you sort of work out Dandy's head into kind of a cube shape, like this. Then you can pay attention to the sharp plane changes that are kind of happening on the human face, basically. You put Dandy's head inside of a box, then it looks something like that. Honestly, I could do like several classes just studying Space Dandy's faces. That would actually get a lot. That would actually be a lot of mileage. He's a dandy guy from space. In fact, I'm going to do that again here. I've already got the opacity lowered on this layer, but I'm going to do that again just to kind of show off how you can use the... If you're kind of having trouble wrapping your head around like the 3D planes stuff, you can do like some drawovers with cubes on these sides. So you can use like the eye angle right there to kind of find the angle of this part, and that's going to be repeating up at the top and bottom like that. As long as there's not any kind of like perspective warping going on or forced perspective exaggeration going on. Should be parallel lines for most of it. I get the brow line somewhere around here. Dandy's center line somewhere around here. Not plane at the head there. Yeah, so you can use cubes like this to kind of wrap your head around the three-dimensionality of the face. And that's the thing I want people to kind of struggle with, is like thinking three-dimensionally when they're drawing. I'm still struggling with it, trying to get better at it myself. I'm gonna grab something real quick because my teriyaki chicken bowl just came, and I'm gonna take a few bites from it. But I'm gonna take a little time to check chat to see if anyone's posted any stuff, so I can give some critique. Yeah, that's pretty good stuff. Oh, this area right here is working okay. Some of it is working okay here, but then it's kind of losing it here, like in the side. The side plane here is losing it a bit because that's not... Let me do a draw over. Adrian, can you actually post the reference that you used for me? Then I can do a demonstration. Yeah, it's the same issue right here. Like a lot of you are having trouble kind of wrapping your head around the how the side plane works, like the three-dimensionality of it. So I really want you to struggle with it. It's okay. It's okay if you're not getting it at first, because it kind of takes several tries before your brain kind of opens up to it, basically. But if you think of those angles turning in space, and keep observing them and drawing over it and measuring it, like using the top of the ear to measure where the brow line is. Right there to there to there. Stuff like that will help you. You're doing a little bit more of it here, which is good. I would say for you, though, like, be way more confident with your lines. These are all kind of broken up and very sketchy. But you want to kind of follow through with your lines and sort of sculpt with them a bit so you kind of feel the dimensionality of them a little bit. That's a little better. Yeah. This will definitely help you get the cubes on the cubes over the faces will definitely help you wrap your head around the three-dimensionality of it. I can see on this one right here, there is a good sense of a side plane here. This one overall is pretty solid. This one got a little confused down here because of all the crazy amount of anatomy, but this is mostly working here. The important stuff is, and so is this. So it's only like this anatomy stuff right here, which was optional, that I'm kind of struggling with, which is okay. Because that was like optional stuff. Stuff there. Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna take a few more bites of this teriyaki chicken bowl. People should keep posting stuff in chat. I can take a few more glances at it before we get back to doing more of these. I know it's uncouth for a streamer to eat on stream, but I am hungry, boy. I had a big walk today. I'm doing really good on my weight loss diet right now. This is probably the closest thing I've had to a cheat day in a while. Eating regular rice instead of brown rice in a teriyaki chicken bowl. No, it's good. I've had better teriyaki chicken, but as teriyaki chicken bowls go, this one's pretty good. You had a cheat day every day. Cheat days are not violate your diet days. Cheat days are strategic days where you knowingly cheat on purpose, and there's a reason for why you do it. And I'll explain that in a little bit. Need more bites of this. I'm really hungry right now. Consider right now like a 5-minute break, by the way. So you can get up, walk around, and hydrate, or whatever. I'm going to be getting some water and walking around and maybe hitting the restroom a little bit before we get back to doing more of these studies. Oh man. Yeah, this was good timing for dinner. I kind of needed this. I'll just leave like half of this uneaten so I don't wolf the whole thing down. Okay. Save the other half of that for later. Alright, I'm gonna have everyone just get a snack, maybe get a small snack, get some water, get some hit the restroom. I'm gonna be doing that myself. I'll see you guys in about 3 to 5 minutes or so. Alright, I'm back. I should actually get a water bottle to have with the computer. Maybe I gotta do that. Stay hydrated, but I've been kind of bad about doing that lately. So right now I'm peeling an orange. So I'm gonna have that instead of filling up on the rest of the teriyaki chicken bowl, which I could potentially save for tomorrow or have the rest later if I do need it. But the reason why I'm having an orange is because vitamin C, like from broccoli, which actually is part of the teriyaki chicken bowl that I just had, helps you absorb iron and vitamin B12 in your intestine. So that means if you have some broccoli with your meat, or an orange with like your breakfast eggs or your egg or whatever thing you're having for breakfast, or even like an orange during lunch or something, then you'll absorb more vitamin B12 in your system, have more energy for eating less meat, by the way, and you'll feel more satisfied and have less cravings. And that's one way you can reduce cravings of having to like having to overeat and stuff. So I'm having me my orange, and then we'll get back. That, and it's probably a good idea to keep your immune system boosted up right now, what with the pandemic. Okay. I don't recommend drinking orange juice, by the way, because that stuff is worse for you than soda, and worse for your teeth than soda. A whole orange, much better. Alrighty, so let's get back. I was going to do a quick demo of this to show about where I think the top plane of the ear is on that one, so I'll do that. Put that in. Even after the class concludes tonight, and probably sometime during tomorrow, I'm going to be continuing to work on this page to fill this up. By the way, like that'll be some more of my homework. Like a lot of the stuff you're seeing me do in these classes, I'm continuing on to do on my own. Alright, so get the sides roughly about like where the eye line is, right there. Get the brow, but actually I'll ahead of myself to get the underside here down to the corners of the nose. That's coming outwards a bit. That's going outwards that way. So it's kind of wedge effect going on. Now that's a good facial expression too. Samurai Champloo, also from the creator of Spacedad and Cowboy Bebop. Although technically Spacedad is from several creators, like the showrunner, the initial creator was the creator of Samurai Champloo and stuff, but he gave so much freedom to the individual directors that took over the episodes that the episodes basically became like an animation anthology series of the individual directors' tastes and talents and ideas. which I really loved. I wish that there was more Space Dandy going on. Hope Space Dandy will return someday. Remember, folks, he's a dandy guy. Space. Kind of using a little bit of the interior of the mouth a bit here. Back of it. So we got like the bottom of the. We're seeing the teeth there as part of the jaw back in there with the top of the teeth and top of the tooth cylinder up there. And in there. Same thing as with Dandy's chin. Like, this guy's a much smaller chin, but like the basic structure is you got 1, 2, 3, and 4 down there. And then from this brow, about you can also use the bottom of the nose for the bottom of the ear, by the way. But the plane change for turning the head happens about here-ish, so we can then approximate that the top of his ear is probably somewhere in here, inside the head. And that also means that the tilt, the angle of the head is something like this, roughly. Because this is an exaggerated character here that's like mostly like kind of loosely following the rules of head construction and stuff. But we can use these things to kind of instruct about what he's doing. Like, I'm going to try to guesstimate about where I think his cranial mass is here. I know that we're going to be seeing more of the top plane of it because it's tilted downwards towards us. Because we know that because of this here. And look at that. You can even like do a little bit of the eye socket with it. Do a little bit of the side of the nose there. Something like that. Does the chin look smaller when someone opens their mouth? I guess. I mean, like, you can try it yourself in the mirror, but like in terms of exaggerating it, like it depends on how the face is being exaggerated, really. Yeah, here, check this out. Let's see. I think that's his Adam's apple down there. If we could see it, sternomastoid would be doing something like this on that side, and doing this on this side. We're not going to be worried too much about that, but it's there. Also, like, his neck is a little bit bunched up here. Like, his back of his shoulders are kind of punched up. So we're probably seeing some of his deltoid somewhere up in there, underneath the robe. And sternomastoid would probably be doing something along these lines underneath the clothes. It's going to be his trapezius, wherever his like muscles from his neck are getting bunched up or whatever. Yeah, I mean, you do a lot. Art Hobbit, you would do a lot of stuff like this, and I would strongly recommend doing it with photographs of real people's faces, non-distorted, really clear, untouched, like unphoto retouched faces of human beings. You can even take pictures of your own face to use as a reference. I think I may have some suitable reference. So I'm kind of powering through this one right here with it. I'm going on autopilot doing this kind of depressed space dandy face, but this guy's got a very distinct shape of his face here. His face feels more realistic than some of the other characters in the show, but yet more alienating and strange. And it's still a cartoon face. Like, he feels a little bit like, though his eyes kind of bulge a bit, like you're looking at kind of a live-action actor a little bit, who's kind of acting a scene where they're sort of bereft of emotion. They're depressed. I've felt like this guy before. I haven't felt like him recently, thankfully. Yeah, this should be like what Jet Plots does, because like he's who originally taught me other people What's Atelier when I was first learning how to draw. I'm hoping to eventually go back and take classes from them again in the future when I get some money. And you can help me with that if you donate to the stream. If you sub to the stream, if you join my Patreon, if you do a direct donation with the Ko-fi donation link that's down below in the stream page. Trying to put together a class improvement budget that will give I'm not spending a cent from it until I get like a certain amount, like somewhere around $1,000 to $2,000 saved up from like the donations that I'm getting here, and then I can prioritize things. One of the things I'm definitely getting as soon as I'm able to is a John Asaro head, and that is these things. So one of these things, and Jeff Watts also uses these too. And I originally learned how to draw heads from these things, and they are fantastic. And we have studied from photograph and 3D versions of these in our classes here. But I want to buy one of these at some point. I have the money for it. Like, I have close to about $400 saved up that people have, from people who donated to me. But I want to get like around $1,000 to $2,000 saved up before I start spending. But this will be one of the things on the agenda to get. $115 right there. Strongly recommended. I would, if you can budget for it, I would strongly recommend buying this. And also, if you want to practice with it, I happen to have a collection right here of head drawing reference, including some 3D models of the Asaro head here that you can use as reference, basically, from Sketchfab. You can take this, you can spin it out around any direction you want, take a screenshot of it, draw over it, try doing copy studies from it. This guy's pretty tricky, though. This guy you kind of have to warm up to doing, so otherwise you're going to be very lost. So I would use something simpler. I would even use like the Loomis head to kind of wrap your head around how the side planes of the head work and stuff from different angles. Like these skull shapes right here are really great. Simplified skull planes right there. That's really nice. This one's more rounded, but this one's still simplified and easier to understand. There's simplified planes of the head, base planes of the head from Andrew Loomis right there. That one I recommend for newer people too. This one right here, which kind of uses some of the same ideas as the Loomis head, That'll help you wrap your head around it. There's another Nimbus head right there. There's a simple Asaro head. This one I recommend doing before doing the complex Asaro head. There's the Riley method. When you get more into Riley method, having something like this to reference from, wrap your head around how the Riley method works is handy too. Those are different like rhythms of the roadmap of the anatomy of the head. I'm going to be putting a folder like this together for figure drawing anatomy reference stuff in the near future too. But let's see, I can copy paste this in this folder in chat for you. These on Sketchfab. And using this will help, using something like this will help you kind of wrap your head around the three-dimensionality stuff. And one of the reasons why you want something like the Asaro head, like the real-life Asaro head, and another reason that you want to actually start drawing stuff from the real world is that helps you get, including like if you're doing like a copy study from like a real-life model of the Asaro head, then that helps you. That helps you like kind of understand spatial relationships of 3D, the things in 3D space. It can be a little hard if you're doing stuff like straight into digital from photo reference to kind of wrap your head around the idea of things turning around and how things feel when they turn in space and stuff. And it makes it harder to create an illusion of three-dimensionality if you have a hard time kind of processing that. So I would recommend like if you are kind of struggling with 3D stuff, maybe draw 3D things around you. Like if you find like a book or something, you can do cubes or soda can for cylinders or just anything around you. But pay close attention to planes and where things change directions in space. Like so let's see here. Let's get some more dandies in. This is a really hyper-exaggerated up angle of Space Dandy's head. I'm gonna make his eyeline kind of wrap over his eyes like this. So it's more like this. At the corners of the brow, get the distortion of the brow going on here. The fleshy mass of the eyebrows, by the way. If we were drawing like the bony mass underneath that doesn't move, then it'd be a different story. But this is a cartoony character, so we're letting the fleshy mass drive things a little bit more. At the bottom of his chin right there. But you can see like they're like... This right here is like, I think that's the front plane of his chin. And then like, there's sort of a puppet wedge in there going on. Or it would be if we could see it. You can see his lips are doing the puppet wedge thing. A bit there. More like this, actually. Let's simplify that. Tricky. Get this top plane right there. His nose. Actually forgot to do this sooner. That's okay. This is a tricky head, so it's easy to get caught up in crazy shit that's going on in it. Really great facial expression and a really great head angle. You can see how the artists kind of simplified how the tilt of the head works and exaggerated some things, like his features are kind of squished in a bit to really emphasize his chin. So we get this kind of really interesting plane change there on his chin. That's the underside of his jaw. That's like bottom of his chin, somewhere around there. This is facing upwards, like this is more of the front plane of his chin, I think. I think that's like kind of the rotation point right there. Yeah, the plane change point. So I'm going to kind of assume that his cranial mass from this angle would be very small looking, if we could see it through his hair, so I'm going to guesstimate it's about here. The angle is heavily exaggerated, so I'm going to have to guesstimate about that. And check this out, like that's his bit of a sternomastoid right there. His trapezius back here. So that's his sternomastoid right here, going down here to his collarbone right there, the simplified collarbone. If we could see his sternomastoid right here, it looks something like that. There. Adam's apple, somewhere around here. Yeah, there's his sternomastoid his trapezius is continuing on over there to his shoulder. Side plane of his head a little bit more there. Tricky face. Even this one is tripping. This one is tripping even me up. I'm supposed to be the more experienced one here, aren't I? Well, full disclosure, I'm not very good, and I'm doing these classes so I can get better. Yeah, I don't think that I got the cranial mass. And pulling back, I can see a few ways that I can maybe do a better job of figuring that out. One of them is use this kind of front plane of the head, the circle, sort of visualize about where the mass of the head is. A little better. That's a little bit better, I think. I'm gonna dwell on it too much longer because, like, that is like drawing under like what is its own design and designed around a hair shape, basically. I need a few bites of my teriyaki chicken. Grab that real quick. Let's take a look at chat, see if anyone's posted anything new. Out though. Some more drawovers there, that's nice. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 7:04 p.m.
Really? We've got about an hour and a half at this, by the way. So buckle up. We're going to stick with this to the end and get more drawing practice drills in doing this for the next hour and a half or so. And I want you guys to not stop with doing this. Like, I want you to do more studies like this. I want you to go back and forth between doing like studies like this and like then trying to freehand create a freehand copy some heads using this technique without drawing them over. I want you to also try creating your own heads, original heads. You can even like turn one of the existing heads you've done a study of to a different angle. And try to like reposition it and stuff. And of course, invent your own heads. Either using some reference to pull from, like to create a character out of it or whatever, or trying just inventing them out of your own head. And a good way to do that is to do one of the things that I like doing this last week. You should be able to see in the margin doodles here. I would do them alongside the studies that I made, and I would make sure that I had the reference back there visible so I could see it, and then I can vibe with it. There actually is a fairly crude page of invented heads I did last week. Well, there's some better ones actually. Well, I'll show you the crude one first, so you can show like how much I kind of realigned things after I got more warmed up using this. So here's a bunch of invented heads that I did last week, and then actually I think the week before last, but then like last Monday, no, or Tuesday, actually I think Tuesday last week, I did like this invented head. Like this invented head, and so on. Like it's a lot more confident. Like it's still got problems and stuff, but there's a lot more confidence in there that there wasn't before. And I did those while having the reference in the studies that I'd done near me. So I'll kind of riff off the rhythms and the structures that I'd been studying. So when you head invent and stuff, you're not necessarily even doing it completely blind. Let me close some of these here real quick. Get back to my file. Much more of my studies. There we go. Gonna finish up the last couple bites of my teriyaki bowl, and then we'll get back into it. So I'm gonna I'm more or less giving you the tools that you need to do this. So I'm gonna let people like be open mic right now on the Discord if they want to talk. So if you want to talk and banter or have fun chit-chatting with the other people here on the Discord voice right now, now's the time. I wanted to touch a little bit more on facial anatomy, but I think I'm going to hold off on that. For the time being, like, just pick faces that have good facial expressions and just play with constructing with them and seeing how they distort distort this, like, this tool that Ethan and I have given you. Yeah, how's everyone in voice chat doing right now? If you can speak up. I don't know if voice has been disabled. Let's find out. Yeah, you should be able to speak. Yeah, you should.
Hello, fellow students.
Hello.
Fellow students, student fellows.
So now we're going to Tom Sawyer this together in that we're going to make this kind of repetitive practice a little bit more. Try to make this fun for all of us. Like now that we know what we're doing, we're going to stick together and morale boost each other and chit chat, talk about stuff. Preferably try to keep it art related. We dipped into some politics discussion last week that we probably should try to avoid just because it's kind of really stressful to talk about. I mean, it's still important stuff to talk about. It's just for this stream, probably not so much. So, new season of animes. Has anyone seen any choice stuff that they've been watching?
Jujutsu Kaisen has
Yeah.
been great.
Anything else? I've seen that too, by the way. It's definitely very good.
Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai has been pretty good. A lot of the special effects animation has been pretty on par right now.
That's good.
The most insane one I started watching was something called Golden Kamuy.
Oh yeah, that one's good. That one's good. That's kind of historical fiction, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's
I haven't seen it, but I know about it. I've heard good things about it.
the rough plot is they're hunting for treasure.
Yeah, it's
like,
a
tattoos on the back of like people.
yeah, it's a kind of historical fiction treasure hunt caper series. Akudama Drive. I really enjoyed that one. That one's just like over the top, crazy fun, silly, kind of. It's like our RGB PC build series in terms of its visuals. I actually really enjoy that. Like the characters are over the top and silly and fun, and it's kind of a throwback to like a more fun and spirited time. A lot of anime. I really enjoy it so far. It is a kind of an Ocean's 11 caper series, where a bunch of like master criminals in a futuristic dystopian world are tasked with recovering some kind of riches or something.
There's a similar type show on Netflix called The Great Pretender, which is
that one's
basically
about con
Cowboy Bebop
artists.
Yeah, it's Cowboy Bebop with con artists. It's great.
Yeah, it knows good, and that Great Pretender is great because it's for a lot of reasons, but one of them is Japanese voice actors trying to speak English.
Yeah, that threw me off because I kept sitting there toggling back and forth between the audio tracks. I'm like, am I on the correct audio track right now?
Yeah, don't worry. I mean, don't worry, Japanese. Please don't make your Japanese voice actors speak English, unless their speech is. We can always tell when they're like reading phonetically from a script. Just wait for the dub. I just like if you want the actors speaking English, like just wait for them to dub, or find an English dub sound-alike who sounds a lot like the Japanese actor.
Yeah, like the sudden shift from the full voice acting from the English side of the Japanese person to just regular Japanese was like really off-putting because they just did it randomly in the middle of the episode. We're like, okay, from now on we're gonna be speaking in the language.
Yeah, it's like fuck it, we're just gonna give it up.
Mostly just been kind of trying to power my way through most of One Piece so far.
I mean, One Piece is good. My only issue with it is the anime moves at a glacial pace and has a lot of annoying filler.
No, I'm starting to feel that right now. I just got to Punk Hazard.
But I'm not hating. I think One Piece is genuinely good. Like I wish I had. I would love to have like the level of creative enthusiasm that the creator has maintained for that series pretty much throughout his whole career. Like you can feel it in the manga. He has not gotten sick of doing it. He's always got something new that he is just excited to share with his audience, and you can feel that rippling off the pages.
Yeah, the manga pacing is significantly better than the anime pacing just because they keep trying to just boil down one chapter per episode, and I'm starting to notice that now because people say it starts to get really bad during the Whole Cake Island arc, I believe they're calling it. I haven't gotten that far yet.
I mean, when that happens, you just like that's part of watching One Piece is like One Piece in anime is like just skipping around. you don't necessarily want to watch the whole episode, or you can. You just put on a podcast or no, you play it while you're like doing work or something. Like One Piece is a good show to watch entire arcs of while you're like doing practice like this or getting some work done or something. Like you can give your full attention to the parts that are more exciting and have cooler animation, and you can always rewatch them if you miss them.
Or you just continuously watch through Water 7 and then cry at the end of the entire arc. And then Haikyuu just continues to be
What's
the
that,
animation
Eric?
powerhouse.
What's that series about that you mentioned in the Twitch chat? Oh, I forgot. I was going to mention. There's a Japanese animator. There's an animator from the Japanese who works in. He's not from Japan. He's actually based in the U.S. But he's the same time zone as me, coincidentally. But he does work in the Japanese animation industry. He's worked on like Black Clover and got some really cool animation to his name and stuff. He's going to be. Me and him are spitballing an idea for a class format. Which will be a weekly and 1 hour weekly / 1 hour animation challenge. And so the way the class format will work is every week we get a different subject. The class will meet roughly around midday Pacific time on Saturday, and midday meaning that like European time zone people can make it, and even like a lot of people in the U.S. can make it because like it's the weekend. And so it will meet midday. I don't have to necessarily do preparation for it other than find reference of the kind of thing we're going to be trying to study and attempt to animate. But the format of the class is 3 hours. First hour is we show the reference of the thing that we're going to be animating, and maybe do like a mini kind of if there's a reason to do it, like a mini tutorial of what we're going to be doing or something. Second hour, we set a timer that's on screen for 1 hour. And everyone has to like animate to the parameters of the challenge in 1 hour. It sounds crazy, but it's actually really doable, like for the stuff that we're going to be doing. And then the last hour will be everyone posts what they animated in the chat, and we review, critique, and check them out and stuff. And then we assign homework, which will be either like do a week-long version of the same idea, or do a modified, different but somewhat related assignment that we assign as a weekly challenge. And for the weekly challenge, we might I want to see how we can make time for a critique for that. We might, for the weekly challenge, I want to figure out how we're going to fit in the critique for that, but that will be part of it too. And the types of things we're going to be doing is like impact frame, like for example, like impact frame animation, missile circus, run cycle, leaping, a character leaping in perspective, camera following a character as they do some kind of interesting thing, geometric forms morphing, effects animation of like smoke or fire or something, crazy impact frame wipes and stuff. Like all kinds of like things that are going to be like a mixture of like fun things to animate that like be really exciting and interesting to animate, that is also mixed with like practicing some good animation fundamentals. What's cool about this is this basically serves as an icebreaker. So like one of the big problems I had that was keeping me from doing animation streams is like I'm really self-conscious about messing up on stream when it comes to animating. So a 1 hour challenge, part of the fun is seeing how you mess up. And so it basically gives me permission to mess up. And not only that, like I would be doing the stream with him also, like somebody who's way better than me, or potentially guest animators and stuff too, who would also be doing this thing alongside with. I would want to see if I can get Taniko or Nils or other people to act as guests slash co-hosts of the stream challenge. But I think it's really fun. Like I think it's a really fun idea, and a fun and really highly productive idea. So what do you guys think about that? You like that idea for a class format?
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, we can probably do like a trial run of the format this next Saturday. Oh, I did it again. I went on autopilot while doing this. Well, that's okay. I'll just do the rest of this. I got like a really good amount of drawing in today. Like I did like a bunch more of those anatomy studies on the torso earlier. So I'm not like too worried about pressuring myself to make too many head drawings. Like this is just gonna kind of like doing drawovers on these heads is gonna help me make the mental shift, doing more heads. One thing I actually want to do for Wednesday's class. So we want to see if we can integrate some of the head drawing practice we're doing here in with like torso drawing vignettes. But we'll see about that. Like it depends where we're able to like concentrate our energy, kind of like combine certain things together.
So one thing I liked about the 1 hour challenge, that idea is because it would force me to actually animate. Because
Yeah,
for the last
that's the point.
2 or 3 weeks, I've been
It's an icebreaker. Like you
in the form of studying.
you can't afford to be a perfectionist if you're challenged with a deadline of 1 hour. Like and it forces you to experiment and play with it. Like you and it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
okay if it looks. It's okay if it looks crummy. You're supposed to loosen up and play with it. And also, like,
Yeah,
if you
because for the last...
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to comment that I'm studying a lot for the past few weeks, but I haven't been actually animating anything because I always get in the mindset of,
Animator block.
oh, I'm going to animate a torso, so yeah, maybe I should do a few more torso studies before I animate it. And I end up like studying
just
for
doing
weeks
torso,
and not animating anything.
I'm in the same boat, literally. But like I do need to like animate figures at some point if I'm going to be doing animation of figures, instead of just like grinding the figure drawing practice. And that's what I wanted. Like something that gives us permission to not worry at all about whether it's good or bad. Is like a fantastic way to approach things. Like you
Agreed.
You're supposed to mess up because then you can learn from it and get better. Like the idea is that you'll become smarter in your decision making over time, doing like quickie challenges like that, or maybe if you've gotten really slow and stiff for doing something like this where you don't have to worry about perfectionism, might loosen you up a bit.
So I might have gotten a little bit overzealous and started pulling stuff from Last Airbender, and I've started to realize
That's
that
fine.
we are overly exaggerated compared to what we've been doing, so it's a bit off.
Yeah, there's some really exaggerated faces in Last Airbender. Like Aang has some particularly great. Aang and Sokka have particularly great faces.
Yeah, I'm pulling a lot from Sokka right now, specifically the cactus juice scene.
Oh god.
I'll toss it in the chat.
I'm gonna see if I can do some of the planets' faces, because those have subtler facial expressions than like Space Dandy. Let's take a look at what we got for that. Actually, I don't know. Her face is. This is an okay face to do, I'd say, but I'm not too happy with this one. Too big. That one's pretty good. That one looks like they referenced. Looks like the artist who did it actually referenced their own face or something in the mirror. That face. I think it's one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite Space Dandy faces in the series. One that's on screen now. What's up?
That face.
He's got not just great faces, but he's got great poses too. Like this one that I've got on right now, where he's crouched down like that. What the hell is he doing with his back leg in this shot? That's just nuts. Alright, so there's a good face. This guy probably has the more expressive faces, expressive range of characters in the series. So I'm gonna use this dude. He's one of the central protagonists of Planetus. I would actually call him a supporting character. There's a woman character who he's buddies with, who's more like the main character. The series is really fantastic, and I strongly recommend it, by the way.
I've watched a bit of it. It is kind of terrifying to think about when you have garbage kind of spinning around the speed that it is, and it could potentially actually trap us here.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of happening now. Like, those Tesla satellites that are littering the sky, like polluting the sky, actually, for example. Those are going to come back to bite us in the ass later.
Probably. I mean, they're in low Earth orbit, so potentially the pull of gravity would just incinerate.
Yeah, thankfully those ones won't be up there forever. But yeah, but they need to regulate like shit like that better, because eventually, like, there's going to be stuff like illegal dumping in space, illegal dumping of waste in space, like there is in this show. And the thing about illegal dumping of waste is, like, that is serious business. Like, there's illegal dumping of stuff is stuff that, like, the mafia gets involved in. Like, really dangerous people in real life. I think that's about all the faces I need from him. I'm gonna set up the rest of this when I'm at it. I can have the rest of these ready to go when I return to the paper. Oh, she's got some pretty good face. Well, sadly, her better faces aren't in this. This is an illustration, but there are some good faces there.
there is one particular Katara face I want to pull, and it's from episode 1, and I definitely know you know exactly which face I'm talking about.
Oh god. A recurring storytelling theme, especially in a lot of Western shows, is like when a character gets their head up their own ass about something. That happens on Steven Universe an awful lot. That happens on Avatar an awful lot too. A character who's normally normally might be a little bit sensible gets delusional about something. And I think that some of the faces that Katara pulls sometimes that I'm thinking of are kind of when she's in that mode of thought.
That mode of thought just gets really hilarious
Yeah,
sometimes.
I mean, it's like how it is in real life. Like sometimes like it happens with everyone. Like sometimes people get stressed out, or they get like they lose perspective or something like that, and they need their friends to kind of slap some sense in them back to reality. I'm gonna shrink this one so I have enough of her shoulders in there that I can do like a collarbone demo on that. Oh god. Does anyone know offhand? Some of you might know what I'm talking about when I say this, but does anyone know offhand about this really bizarre, overarching kind of meta fanfiction thing that there's been some YouTube videos on it that I've seen recently. I didn't even know this thing existed until more recent, but it's like a meta fanfic community that's sort of been around since 2000s, and some of the works in it have like spawned like actual like real like successful legit novels and stuff, sort of in a similar vein to like Twilight has. But what I'm thinking of is a kind of a meta fanfic thing that's like all encompassing of like virtually every form of fiction ever that's ever existed, but they're all gay werewolves that do male pregnancy with each other. It's the most bizarre fucking thing, and it's mostly written by like young to middle-aged women.
Wait, how long has it been going on for?
It's been around since like the 2000s. What I forget what it's called, but it's what the fuck. And not only that,
Like
there's
a collaboration?
there's like an epic amount of drama around it. Like tons of people like because eventually like actual successful authors like came out of it because they turned it to like Harlequin romance. They evolved from like this really bizarre and quite frankly disturbing and sometimes like very some of the characters that they do this fan fiction with are underage. So, but I'll try not to mention too many of the details on screen. But yeah, there's like bullshit. Yeah, exactly, Eric's Blue. There's like alpha omega shit in it, like of like wolf pack hierarchies, which of course are bullshit. Like wolves and wolves in captivity are the only ones that do the alpha beta omega thing because what you're seeing with wolves in captivity are basically wolves suffering mental illness because of they're in captivity. And they're not acting the way that normal wolves do in real life, which is very cooperative and non-hierarchical. Like imagine, like, you think of how people behave, how like ordinary people behave, like when they're stuffed into like prison, in like a brutal prisons scenario, and going nuts. That's the same shit, basically. But anyway, so that's beside the point. They use like alpha, omega, whatever categorizations for the different the different tiers of the male characters in this stupid fucking fanfic omniverse. Anyway, I'm brain farting for what the name of this stupid shit is, but there's some hilarious like drama YouTube stuff that I saw about like just the sheer amount of like absurd stupidity over like and like of like people basically backstabbing each other to try to make money, or like accusing other people of stealing each other's authorship of what was originally like just basically this like slash fanfic to begin with. It's the most it's the most gross, stupid. Yeah, Addison Kane. Addison Kane. That Addison Kane is one of the craziest of the successful authors of this, by the way. She's like sued like so many people for like so many reasons, so many stupid reasons over the years. Yeah, anyway, so that's enough of that. Let's get back to art. Let's do a palette cleanse, getting back to good art. Instead of talking about
I'm going
horrible
to
horrible
for that
fanfic
later.
communities.
It sounds like something I'll read about in a weekend and not be sure if I regret reading it or if I am fascinated by it.
Well, it's the kind of shit that you put in like your playlists on YouTube or whatever when you're just kind of doing other stuff. I wanted to mention it while I was doing the boring work of putting together my reference here.
I like reading that kind of story because it's fun seeing just how just a little bit of power can go up to people's heads and
Yeah.
what they can do with it. It's
The
fascinating.
people who go mad with a very small amount of power.
Little amount of power, the tiniest amount of power, and people go insane instantly.
Yeah, and like I'm very much a feminist. I'm very much pro equality between men and women and stuff. And but like, I think that the condescending idea that things would be better if women were in charge is bullshit. And you need not look any further than how the women of fiction communities have behaved around with each other. Oh my god. The sheer amount of like backstabbing and just like mean-spirited horribleness and like horrible things that people in like those communities have done to each other over the years. It's just mean, petty, cruel stuff for the dumbest reasons. In many cases, like, my god.
It's hilarious how my Google Foo is failing me tonight in finding good Aang faces.
Hmm. One thing I'm doing here that I haven't been doing too much of tonight is adding a center line down the whole thing, kind of like doing the three-dimensionality of the face. That's something that I was doing a lot of last week. I kind of been neglecting here, but that's okay. You don't do everything at once. Always. I like how like this kind of this covers up part of the top of his ear, but this is like more or less close to where his actual brow line is. This Tachimaki he's got on. Anyway, the series that this character is from, Planets, is fan-fucking-tastic. I also recommend, in a similar vein, Space Brothers. We need more, like, realistic near-future sci-fi anime. Realistic space travel.
As a tangent to that, I would say also look at Dr. Stone, just because the amount of science they cram into that is ridiculous.
Yeah, but that one's like more cartoony and exaggerated. This is like positive. This is like there's some like archetypical stuff that happens and like plot conveniences and stuff that obviously aren't like true to life, but like the stuff that happens in Planet East and Space Brothers is like stuff that could definitely happen in the real world. Hard for me to tell like how. I'm sort of had to guess where his jaw is, so I might be like de-emphasizing the cranium too much, or something, or too much or too little. I'm kind of guesstimating about where his hair is, or his skull mass is through the hair.
I had a question, if
Yes.
that's okay. I've got a reference that's like, it's a really good expression, but I'm kind of struggling with like how to do the lay-in with it. Like I'm struggling with the forms, and I was wondering if I could get help with it. If not,
Sure.
that's cool.
You can
though.
post it in chat.
Okay, cool.
Post
Yeah,
it
I'll
in
post it
Discord.
real quick.
Yeah, post it in the Discord chat. I'll take a look.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. You mean by the layout? You mean like the construction?
Yeah. Because I like the expression a lot, and I want to kind of like learn from it, but I'm struggling with like just getting the basic form of the head down.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like the solution.
I know I should probably go back to that first.
Well, the solution to that is like, notice that I'm doing like kind of sensing out the squish of the chin, of the side of the cheek, right there where he's put his hand.
Yeah.
The solution to that is to do a lot of these, and you start wrapping your head around it, and so
Okay.
when you do get challenging angles like
Yeah.
that, they become a lot easier to take on.
Okay.
You really do have to wrap your head around like how stuff
Right,
works.
right.
And mind you, I'm not going into this like blind myself. Like I've done like a lot of head drawing practice for the last several months, and of course I had a background learning the stuff before, but I was like horribly out of practice when I started. So I mean, like it's a matter of like mileage and opening yourself up to see things three-dimensionally, and like you can't like draw the illusion if you don't know how to see the illusion. And in order to get that, you need to, well, draw from the real world for one, but also do a lot of studies like these.
Yeah. I think I've been focusing too much on like getting the measurements super accurate too. Like
Well,
I know they need to
that's
be
normal.
accurate, but if
In fact, I would even
Yeah.
say start on that first a little bit, but like as far as the Ethan wedge goes, like you can concentrate on like the face wedge part a lot, and like maybe try playing with like a head sphere or something. Actually, I'm gonna take a look at what you were gonna post in chat. Did you post it?
I'm sorry, I just realized I didn't have my push to talk on. Yeah, I posted it.
Is it Pearly?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so I'll yoink that into let's take a look. Well, this guy, if you're not familiar with how like the face works neutrally, like expressions like this can kind of throw you off.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to do it, is because I wanted the challenge of like his face is like distorted. I kind of liked.
Well, I mean, like one thing that'll help you is if you just keep in mind that like what his mouth is doing is that's just flesh on top of bone, and the bone
Right,
is
and I
staying
think
most
that's
of the
what was
same.
throwing me off.
Unless he's moving the hinge of his jaw. So what we got here is there's our eyeline there, out there. So I'm going to use the same thing of the flexible brow right here as I do on the cartoon
Alright.
characters. Although a lot of times for realistic photo drawovers, you might want to keep that less flexible. So a few things I'm noticing about what's happening with his nose. His nose is bending a little bit that way because his mouth is going that way and stretching it a bit. So like the cartilage on your nose will actually bend a little bit sometimes, depending on how stretched out your face is doing. So like the nose bone is staying the same, just this is getting pulled over that way a little bit. So we get the bottom of this going through the nose nostrils, center line right here, and I'm gonna actually take this. I'm gonna put the center line off center down the center of the nose, and down the front of the mouth, the lips, even though like his actual center line is about here. That's just like to. That's like to kind of let me know just like how much off where his how much the flesh is distorting from the basic shape of the face, the basic structure of the face. Let me get this. It looks like his jaw might be skewed that way slightly too. That's causing this cheek to bunch up a little bit, in addition to what he's doing with his lips.
Yeah, well, you were talking about earlier with kind of like figuring out where the skull is under the skin too is helping a lot, like with my lay-in.
You can definitely see here like where the side plane of the head is. Part of that was what is helping with this is he's got a hair part. It's pretty close to the side plane of his head.
Yeah, that's exactly what was throwing me off is that side plane and like where his hairline is at.
Well, it's gonna
I was trying to.
It's gonna be a little bit below it, I think. But the angle of his head is about something like this, because we're seeing a little bit of the top of his head, but the side plane of his head is something like these lines actually. We can actually see like if his head was shaved, we'd be able to see a good amount of the top of his head. Come up like that.
It's making a lot more sense, like seeing your lay-in, like the forms are making a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to help me out with this, by the way. I appreciate it.
I mean, it's more practice for me, too. I needed an excuse to do a live action study, too, anyway.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of animated stuff, but I wanted to go back to realism to kind of, like, get a grip on, like, the more realistic forms, because I was struggling with the stylized forms.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of stylized forms lately, because I've been getting like self-consciously locked up doing live action stuff. Trying to wrap my head around how anime artists and comic artists break stuff down right now. So yeah. I'm doing a combination of like traditional anatomy study stuff with like study of these characters.
Right, finding that balance is difficult.
And eventually I'm going to start integrating more of the live action studies back into things too. I want to see if I can get some more of them in tomorrow. I think I need to find just more like a bunch of reference and just pile it in. Really. Not be lazy about it. Method rhythms in there. So his actual hairline is about. So just as a practice, I'm going to start darkening in like areas, adding extra thick lines to stuff so I can differentiate the different things I've drawn over. App that I should get into anyway. What time we got? Well, we got about 40 minutes here. Guys ready to draw for the next 40 minutes?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and we've got your reference ready to go. There's no reason not to.
Imagine a planet of little TJ lasers, all highly skilled in weapons and biotic tactics, with me as absolute ruler. If you don't want to be a part of this incredible vision, then you can get a space taxi back to planet Idiot. I'm TJ Laser, expert with lasers and phasers. Death to the alien scourge. Where are we? Lasers and phasers.
That probably isn't going that far off the stream. I personally advocate not overworking yourself. Well, I'm not overworking myself. And I'm going to be putting down the pencil after I get done with this session here. We've only got about like 40 minutes left. I know, trust me, I've been like continually evolving like how I monitor myself and how I pace out when I take breaks. Like for example, this last Sunday I wanted to do a Blender learning stream, but
Yep.
that actually may do tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Tech Tuesday, if I can call it that. Or just like it's like I'm not even sure if I'm gonna stream it live, but we'll see. If there's like enough people that show up for it, we'll do it live too. But we'll be going over PC hardware stuff. I might actually do some more demos like this on stream while I'm talking about tech stuff. But we're gonna I want to make a regular thing of like talking tech shop with the people from our community of like PC building stuff for digital artists and different tools like displays and other things, and whatever's going on currently in tech hardware or software that people should be aware of, because stuff's changing all the time.
Breaking news: bots have bought all of the Ryzen stock and all of the Nvidia stock.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, the stock?
Yeah, like they've been doing this constantly. They keep stealing all the graphics cards.
Oh yeah, that. I thought.
Or anyone
Yeah,
has a chance to get at them.
yeah. But you meant like stockbroker stock. Oh, that's something else.
No. Actually,
No, I know all about that. Trust me. You're probably not going to be realistically be able to get an off-the-shelf 5000 series CPU or the new AMD GPUs or the new Nvidia GPUs until next year.
Well, this is one of those realistic cases where you would actually have to go physically to the store, like a Micro Center or something.
Yeah, you can do that. There's already like lines and shit at Micro Center and stuff like that.
If you live near a Micro Center.
Yeah. Another thing you can do is you can try to contact the vendor. Or you can try to contact vendors, and then some people have been able to like I've proven that I'm not a scalper, and now they put me on a wait list of like non-scalpers basically for the thing I want to get. There's a few people that have done that. I don't know what retailers they've done it for. Whoa. What happened there? Probably because I have a giant-ass file. At some point I actually want to get a new drawing display, because eventually this one is going to give out. And I want to get a new one, and then I can have this one as long as it keeps working. I can have it as a backup. That'd be something for me to do, because if I lose this thing, I'm kind of screwed. Not completely screwed, like I have a few options of what I can do. You know, it never hurts to have a backup. Although I have faith that if that did happen, then like I would be able to probably field enough donations to get a replacement from the lovely people in our Discord community.
Would you just stick to Wacom, or would you venture out?
I'd probably stick with the same thing if I could. Really depends, though. Like, if it's a beggars can't be choosers kind of thing, and I only have so much resources to work with, ideally I'd want to just replace it with whatever the current equivalent of this is. Or I'd probably just find a used one of the same model. Ideally I'd want to buy a new one, because then I have a new warranty on it in case that one fails.
Are we talking like a 22 HD, or?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I could probably make do with a 16-inch one, but and I eventually want to get a 16-inch one so I can have it for travel. But travel and flexibility, because like sometimes I might want to. I can see a lot of situations where sometimes I might want to use a 16-inch tablet instead of the 22 for certain things. So I'd have them both in the same desktop. That's probably going to be what I should do preemptively. I should get a 16-inch tablet that I can use flexibly, and then that's my backup situation sorted out. And I'll get used to using it, so that if like the 22-inch one ever fails, then I'll be good to go until I can get a new 22-inch one. There's actually a lot of animators that prefer working on smaller tablets too. Like the Japanese animator guy that I'm talking to actually works on a 13-inch. I think he wants to get a bigger one at some point, but he working on a 13-inch tablet doesn't hold him back at all.
I kind of understand it, because there's something. I'm working off a 24 right now, and it's weirdly intimidating trying to hold my lines correctly versus using like my small, like regular sized iPad.
Yeah, I mean the big thing I get out of working on 22 inches, I can use my whole arm, full strokes. I'm gonna actually be I'm still kind of like sketchy with my lines and stuff, and I've got to develop more dexterity with them. So I'm gonna be trying to troubleshoot that this week. I think Costa knows a few things that I can do that will help me get sorted out on that.
Figure that out, tell me, because you know my lines.
If he goes over something like that in this, I think he's doing fundamentals practice tomorrow. Is it tomorrow or is it Thursday that he's doing fundamental stuff?
I don't think I'm actually aware of him or his class.
Well, let's take a look, because I think this would be something that, especially for the newcomers here, they should definitely check it out. Let's see, class announcements. Scroll up. Here we go. Well, he said a Q&A. Let me see if it's on the class schedule. Tuesday. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, Google, what is 5 p.m. Eastern to Pacific?
2 p.m. Monday in Pacific Time.
Okay, so that's 2 p.m. Pacific Time tomorrow that he's doing that. That's good to know. Because then I can do my Tech Tuesday or something before or after his class.
Will there be
Is he gonna
recording
archive
somewhere?
that lecture?
Of the tech thing?
No, I'm talking about Costa's like fundamentals class.
I'm pretty sure Costa will record his class, but we'll find out.
I mean, do you know where he posts them? Is he have a YouTube channel or something?
Yeah. I don't know yet, but he does have a Twitch channel. I don't know if he's just going to do it through the Discord or not, though. So, I don't know orders that have been the results. Shortcomings of approaches, rules of thumb, orders from study methods. Approach to fundamental. Okay, this is a psych you up class. He's not actually going over physical art fundamentals. He's covering kind of like mentality things. So some of this might be kind of like it's a mix of of Costa being Costa and all. It's a pep talk basically. He does go over some professional stuff. There's like tidbits of things you can definitely pick up on from him, but like yeah, I'd say it'd be a good idea to attend that. He's kind of trying to. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Marshall Vandroff, a little bit, in that he has a lot to say about motivation and stuff. So I definitely might be good to check him out. I want to talk to him actually about him and some of the other from our Discord about like getting more line confidence and developing better habits with how I approach my line and maintain and push my line dexterity. Starting to get some. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm starting to get some of it. But like you can see, like on some of the anatomy practice I was doing earlier, there's parts of it that are like kind of like overly sketchy, overly scribbly, overly done, like this kind of crazy amount of scribbly sketches and stuff. Some of these are a little better. This is a little better. That one's more confident. Definitely. And like a good way to address that is like if after you do like something that's more sketchy and scribbly like this, you lower opacity on it, and then you try to do more confident strokes on it. So actually, I think is how you're supposed to do stuff like this. Because if you're drawing something that you're unsure of or pretty new to, you're inherently going to be lacking in confidence in your lines. So it's not necessarily you want to try to approach something with more confidence initially if you can. But if you're not quite there yet, you can always like do another pass over it and push that confidence and that clarity. How do you get better at not having sketchy lines? I would say like do line drills and also draw from your shoulder instead of your wrist or your elbow. There's the site drawabox.com has like a lot of stuff on line drills. So I'm thinking of actually digging more into that some. In fact, let's take a look at it before we sign out for the evening in about 25 minutes. We'll take a look at drawabox.com before we leave because they have some line drill exercises. Maybe we can end the stream doing a few quick line drills. You know, it's kind of cool down almost. Oh, there's a few. Here's a few actually. Let's go over them real quick. So one of them is you make a bunch of dots across your page like that. Then you draw lines across them. There's other stuff too that I think would help give me more confidence. That is rotating your page to get particular stroke angles. That is something that I am not doing or in the habit of doing presently, but I've gotten better results in the past doing that, and maybe I should do that now. So let's, I'm not sure how to quite do it, but I mean, I do it more when I'm doing traditional stuff. It's like easy to just turn a page, but I should definitely like get in the habit of doing it here. Like, I need to figure out like what my best angles are for pulling certain strokes is and stuff, and then I can rotate the canvas around to where I need it to be, stuff to pull those strokes.
I need to remember that my tablet's physically on a monitor arm, and I can literally turn the entire tablet.
One thing that I think I should do is I should try to pull instead of push. I'm left-handed, so that means let's draw a quick hand here. Really cute, really crude little hand holding a pencil. So that means my pulls are pulling the stroke. Inherently, pulling the stroke is always going to be down. That's always going to be a pull. Like this is pull. This is pull. This is pull now. So inherently, like drawing down the page is going to be a pull. The other is drawing here to here is a pull, like across the page, horizontally to the left. It's a pull. So that means I have to keep that in mind. So like for example on Spacedad here, instead of doing this where I'm pushing when I'm going to be more wobbly, maybe do that, and maybe even like figure out the angle that would be most comfortable for me to draw that line. Like maybe about here. That feels more comfortable for me to draw that line there. Let's see, like the side plane of his head here, like feels a little bit comfortable to do that there. Angle the jaw, yeah, feels comfortable right there. Maybe just get in the habit of doing this and like set up some shortcuts so I can make it second nature to rotate the canvas. And just remember that like I want to be pulling my strokes. I think that will probably help me. Oh yeah, there's a difference already. Like just from pulling those strokes, I like have more confidence to pull more confident strokes even from other angles. It's like the muscle memory of keeping a steady hand, it starts to like fire up a bit. So now like I'm not rotating the canvas, but I'm drawing with like more confident strokes now. Yeah. Yeah, there, see? I figured it out on my own, see? Spacedad did it again.
See.
Also, the other thing is like rotating the canvas like this lets you understand what you're drawing a little better. Kind of a similar effect to like refreshing your eye by flipping the canvas. Like I can see the spatial relationships on the on like these faces a little better when I rotate the canvas like that. Yeah, look at that. That's a lot crisper. I mean, it's still based on the same stuff like this. It's just that, like, because I'm rotating the canvas now to pull strokes where I need them to, I don't feel like I'm fighting the pencil as much now for doing this. I think that's what was holding me back. I was rotating the canvas. I just gotta, like, see if I can like handle most of my lines that I'm able to pull stroke with right here first before rotating. Let's see here. Get that eye line, get that about like here. And a little bit of spillover is okay as long as the overall thing's pretty confident. Of course, you aren't always going to be able to rotate the canvas like this. There's like if you're working like a smooth newsprint pad, the substitution for being able to rotate the canvas is like moving your body and moving your arm around to pull the strokes you need. Of course, you're able to do that on a large smooth newsprint canvas pretty easier than you are on like a digital drawing surface like the one that I'm using right now. And now that I think about it, I think that another thing that will definitely help me in improving my line confidence is if I start doing big sketch pad stuff with the tapered charcoal pencil that I used to use from Watt's Atelier. So let's see here, tapered charcoal pencil. What? Shut up, cat. There we go. Yeah, Proco was trained by Watt, so he uses like the same pencils that I do, that I would for drawing traditionally like that. That's the other thing. Like if I get a class improvement budget together, one of the things I want to invest in is a webcam down shooter, so I can do traditional stuff like this. Yeah, this is how you're supposed to taper your pencil. Use a razor blade and then use the sanding pad. It's pretty tricky to do.
Yeah, I've broken a couple of charcoal pencils trying to do it for the first time.
Yeah, you'll break a lot of them. It's a good idea. Yeah, here's Watt's Atelier actually right here, showing off these tapered pencils other people have set up.
I'm still trying getting used to the overhand drawing method.
Another pencil that like they recommend, there's another couple of tools that they recommend for animators also, like on drawing a large smooth newsprint. Cheap Sharpies, because it forces you to commit to lines, and you can also have permission to scribble. Those are for animators mainly. And the other is micron pens that have no effective pen on them, basically. Like you might be able to get slightly darker strokes with them when you press, but for the most part, they micron pens or pencils rather. Like Robert Valley sketches. He draws an awful lot like that, using like micron pen. It's all his drawings. Like here's a little thumbnail sketch, for example, that he did, kind of using that sort of thing. The stuff is really like stylized and like crazy pushed shapes, but it's still based on like a really solid understanding of the human figure. So, but don't be deceived by like here's some character designs he did for Tron Uprising. Like, it's still based on like a really good understanding of the human. Like you could do like draw over studies of these faces, and still break them down with the same kind of dimensionality and stuff that we're doing. Even though they're like heavily stylized. And to prove it, like, well, first off, these characters got turned into 3D models, but they actually have like full turnarounds. Hand-drawn turnarounds by Robert Valley and the other production team members.
I want another season of that show so bad.
So I'd actually say pages like this would be actually great to study. I'm gonna have to remember to bring up these pages. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of key art down there for like different facial expressions. Yeah, when we get more into facial expressions next week, like this page might be really good to have. So I'm gonna save this on my desktop. remember that.
You kept confusing me because there's also a character called Paige in the show, and I kept looking at screen. All I see is Beck.
Yeah.
That was a good show.
It was,
I want
it
another
was pretty
season.
alright.
I want another season so bad. It needs to finish up.
I think this is a
Sorry.
page, but I think this is a design page by Sean Galloway, because I think he also worked on the show too. I think this is a page of his work on the show by Sean Galloway and stuff. I actually like this better than what they came up with. This is. I would like to have seen a 2D hand drawn Uprising kind of like this. Where they like hybridize 2D and 3D a bunch and stuff. That would be nice.
Well, that was the entire purpose of Paperman, so and I've yet to see them utilize that.
Yeah. There's other production companies and animation stuff that actually has done that since then. You can do that in Toon Boom Harmony now, by the way. I don't know, and on in it. Well, I mean, the Toon Boom Harmony is actually what they used in conjunction with like Maya or whatever else Disney was using. Like maybe some. I think Disney uses Maya actually. Disney feature.
I think the coup de grace version of that is probably Klaus.
Yeah.
Just going through the.
When I visited Disney and I like got to see what the interns were working on. They were working on Maya.
I'm not good at Maya. I have to use it for my architecture classes. It sucks.
Yeah, well, maybe Disney will start using Blender.
It's pretty much on its way. Every single like entity I've seen so far is throwing their weight behind.
On that note, we're going to try to see if we can get some Blender study stuff in tomorrow.
Oh, what version are you gonna be using of Blender?
The current one.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I had the current one installed.
Also, Spacedad, just kind of a question in relation to Avatar right now. Am I crazy, or are
You're
they
crazy.
exaggerating the position of like the ears and the neck with an Avatar more so than?
Well, I'd have to see what you're talking about, but yeah, I mean,
I
there is
haven't listened to
there is stylization and exaggeration that goes on in those character designs. Yes, they are 2D characters, so they're gonna be slightly cheated towards the camera, apparently. Make them pop more than they would if they were like 3D models. I do have to be more conscious of what I'm doing with my lines now, though. I don't have an excuse, do I? Further, I've gotten like clean lines in the past and stuff, but then I kind of like I get off my rhythm, and then I start getting sketchy and lacking in confidence again. Hopefully, as long as I'm staying conscious of it, and now that I'm starting to like get my steady hand back, maybe like maybe I can get more consistent with it. That would be the long-term goal, because you want to be if you want to you want to have like consistent line stuff. It's kind of like I'm learning how to play the guitar better, and my dexterity between the notes is kind of smudgy. Like I'm playing the notes, but then you hear like lots of like my fingers moving up and down the frets and scrubbing and stuff, and playing slightly the wrong note, but also playing the right note. Another thing is like if you are able to pull more confident strokes, you will learn faster because you're absorbing more information and there's less ambiguity about what you're making and what you're trying to draw. But I kind of needed to do like a lot of this and then become self-aware of what's holding me back before I could start to shed it. So now I'm going to try to keep on my ass, folks. If you see me kind of scribbling like this, a bunch, like I was on even on these ones stuff. Remind me, hey, Spacedad, you just want to remind you. To rotate your canvas and try pulling your strokes, so then you can get your you can remind your muscle memory of the dexterity that you actually do have for those nice clean strokes. I do have that dexterity. I have a cleanup artist's hand.
I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I have better dexterity when I use like traditional media and less so when I use like my Cintiq.
You feel like what?
Like I have more control when I use traditional media
No,
instead of
that's
the
normal.
Cintiq.
It's normal.
Okay.
Yeah. With some
It's all
exceptions,
about
with some exceptions, you have way more control with the traditional media than digital. That's why doing traditional to improve your digital dexterity is really crucial. And that's why I always made the biggest gains in my digital drawing whenever I was like doing a lot of traditional drawing alongside it. I'm going to try to do that now. I haven't been keeping my sketchbook up to date lately, so I'm going to start trying to do that. Like maybe keeping it by my bed or something. So I do a lot of like viewing videos, zoning out on my bed and just chilling. That'd be good to just like keep my traditional sketchbook near me and just like have something to doodle in. I've done that before many times, I just haven't been doing it lately. I'm gonna work on setting that up tomorrow. I need a self-conscious rest break tonight to rest my hand and my arm. But it's something I should definitely do. I'm actually going to be gutting like the room that I'm in right now tomorrow, so that I can reorganize everything and have like a better workflow set up. Got like a lot of books to put on shelves and other things. So one of the inherent problems with doing like anime faces is they tend to like simplify and abbreviate like the construction of the face anatomy. That's why if you can find like manga artists that do a lot more construction stuff, it's a good idea to look at their stuff. Katsushiro Otoma, who I was practicing last week, you can see he does a lot more kind of detailed detailed anatomy. See if we can find some good faces by him. This one's a really good face right here, really detailed and nice. Ooh, that's pretty effed up right there, but there's some great faces. It's a fantastic face.
I was thinking like Goseki Kojima is really good. For Lone Wolf and Cub and Samurai Executioner.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think Crying Freeman as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Let's see the manga. Let's see, mountain climbing manga. I'm trying to remember who this artist is, but I was looking.
Oh,
I've looked at the.
yeah,
I actually, yeah, they actually have images from them collected from a previous like pure F draw over, but the artist specifically behind it. Oko no Hito. A psychological thriller about mountain climbing.
It's pretty good. I read a fair bit of it.
Because the artist has done a lot of amazing things. Shinichi Sakamoto. Yeah, they do some of the best best faces in manga. That and like the artist behind Crying Freeman. Fun fact about the artist of Crying Freeman: one of the tricks that he uses is when faces are facing a particular direction, he will only draw them from one direction, and he'll flip them. He'll like photocopy and flip them.
Oh, I
When
didn't know
put it
I
in
that.
the
remember
manga.
seeing that on Manga Maben.
Yeah, because like it's the difference between pushing and pulling your pencil, and that's something we can take away for because we have digital tools that we can use to get better to like play to our hand and arm strengths. So I've been getting really lazy about not being conscious of those things, and I would actually get better results without it's like trying to it's like trying to drive a car without any oil in your engine. Like it'll work, but it's gonna fucking rattle like hell and probably break down. I missed this face. Let's see if I can speedrun the last two faces, because we don't have too much more time here. See if we can speedrun a little bit of just a little bit of neck anatomy here. Just go up to her shoulders about there, the clavicle there. Trapezius back there. Mastoid coming down here. Just about that's about the bump of her clavicle right there on her shoulder. Deltoid right there. A little gap right there into the clavicle. Head angled back like that. On hair, like when we do get into hair, there's like I know a little bit about how hair works, so I'll give you a kind of a little preview. But there's like an origin point thing of hair, where the hair originates from, like usually from a part in the hair, for example. So like these are all kind of going out here from the origin point and stuff. So we will get more into hair like this in the future. I may actually do some studies this week, because I kind of need to get some practice in hair. Space Dandy's hair is anti-gravity, is a little bit, it still obeys the same rules as any hair stuff, but it's heavily stylized, and it's like a very graphic shape. And it does disobey gravity slightly because it's like an anti-gravity pompadour in the front a little bit. So let's see here. I'll do like a quick speed run of this, but I do like how you can tell like I'm starting to get more intuitive about my anatomy now. So like when I do sketches and when I start getting more comfortable with doing freehand constructive sketches, stuff like this in the future, more anatomy is going to find its way in there because of the practice I've been doing. There's not really any shortcut to getting better at this stuff, and I've kind of had to learn that over the last several months, and learn that and relearn that. All about like picking the right things to study and being smart about how you study, and then having faith and being able to digest things, and then reevaluating when you aren't quite getting the results you need, not giving up hope. It's no easy task to like rewire your brain and your hand to get better at something like this. Yeah, Drawbox does have a Discord, and I do. If you do the Drawbox challenges, which I strongly recommend for people new to draftsmanship and drawing, they have a Discord that you can consult for feedback, which I strongly recommend you get involved in. In the future, I actually want to do Drawbox stuff myself, because that might be an opportunity to improve the things that in draftsmanship that I've been talking about struggling with. And it's pretty close to quitting time, so I'm just gonna do a super quick space dandy. If I had more time, I'd probably do something with those hands, but I'm not gonna. I'm feeling like at my limit right now, though. Like it's like, oh, stop! You need a break. A little bit, just a little bit. But I'm just gonna go. But I'm feeling like I can just get this last bit of stuff in. So we'll take a look at Dropbox in very shortly. And please, if you're still here, stick around to the end, because I'm going to have you all raid another artist channel. Remember that in the future, we're going to be trying to do artist raids. Also another thing that I need to do is I need to take breaks where I run when I get up to walk around doing those breaks and stuff. I need to remember to hit the add button, which you're allowed to do it once every hour. So I'm going to do that after I get done with this head here. So please sit tight for like 60 seconds. I'm going to grab some water or something, and then we'll look at Drawbox. We'll also look at some of the work that people have done in the Discord. Do a little bit of the hand here. I want to do something like what we're doing here for hands. That's going to be fucking fantastic to get to. I think we'll probably get to hands when we are doing arm, we'll work our way down the arms to the hands in the course of doing currently we're doing torsos. I'm thinking probably we'll do arms next, but I'm thinking maybe the legs for that. The legs and probably the feet before that, because I'm fairly comfortable with the arms right now, although I could use more practice in hands. But I feel like I want to do the legs to kind of anchor and ground the figures that I draw. Because when you're doing the legs, it isn't just about leg anatomy, it's also about planting the feet in space. Oh geez, I don't like that other head. Let's see if there's anything I can do to triage this. Oh well. Her eyes look kind of dumb. I wasn't really paying attention to that one. These turned out okay. Don't like the eyes there. No, this one's a little... bleh. Actually, I think that what will help this one is emphasizing the eyes a bit more. And again, there's that thing with hair has an origin point and it obeys gravity stuff, and has this kind of, in this case, she has wavy, kind of wispy hair. Maybe inserting some more I kind of know how hair works, so I have enough to go with that I could probably start doing hair studies like that. making hair studies part of the complete package of doing head studies like these might be a good idea too in the future. So let's take a look at Drawbox. Quick. So here's Drawbox. I'll copy that in chat for you guys. And because we're like close to the end of the class, I actually should have done this sooner, but I'm going to switch my Discord stream over to what I'm doing on monitor 2. So now you'll be able to see this in real time if you're watching through the Discord. Alright. So the way you use this site, first off, I would highly recommend joining their Discord. They have different tiers of if you complete certain lessons and stuff, then you get booted up to the next lessons. And they will help you wrap your head around the stuff you're doing. Now, the way you use this site is you go to the lessons section, very important. Go straight to lesson 0, getting started. And now, very important here, read the text. Read the text. Read the even this is kind of like a preamble right here, but they will also these are new. These videos are new. Previously, they didn't have these videos here. But I would also strongly recommend watching all the videos that are embedded in these, because they will further explain the stuff that's being talked about. Always read the text on Drawbox. So, lesson 0, change your mindset. They're talking about this is very important stuff to wrap your head around for like how to get the most out of your practice sessions and how to not get burned out. So pay very close attention to that stuff, because that stuff is really important to getting like making improvements in art. But yeah, going through this stuff right now, like I feel like it would be fantastic if I had a draw a box class that I was leading where we were and I think that the draw a box site would be totally cool with us doing that, basically, where we study and do the draw a box stuff together in the future. That'd be really actually a pretty damn good idea. So we'll think about that for the new future. They recommend different materials and stuff, but let's see here. They talk a little bit about mark making stuff. You can see here, like back here, some examples of like, you don't want those sketchy lines. You want like confident strokes. And I think this is why I really think it would be a good idea for me to do a draw a box class series with y'all in the Discord and on Twitch, because us doing this all together, like this would be really fantastic for me in improving my line confidence, which is something that I'm struggling with right now. It would make me much more self-conscious and aware of the quality of my line strokes. Yeah, this is also very important here. You want to draw from your shoulder because you have the most range of motion from your shoulder, and you don't put pressure on your wrist to get carpal tunnel. Yeah, like I said, read the site. It'll give you homework assignments of things to do, like 2 field pages of superimposed lines, 1 field page of ghosted lines, 2 field pages of ghosted planes, so on. And then lesson 1, after going through and doing the homework and exercises of lesson 0 and reading the stuff there, you can submit your homework for review when you completed all 3 sections. They actually have a submission page for it here, and you can get feedback for it on Discord from other people. Yeah, I do. If you are really new to drawing, jump as deep into this as you can. Like, take it seriously. Like, take like lesson 0, going through lesson 0 and the line drills very, very seriously, and do the exercises that it gives you in the homework as best as you can, and get feedback on it before you move on to lesson 1. Yeah, I really do actually do. I really actually do think I want to do this because the reason that like it's not just like the line quality. They actually there's like lots of understanding of 3D space that goes into this, and there's also like there's not really any figure drawing here, and I wish there was. And I hope that there's going to be stuff like that in the future, like drawing 3D figures and stuff. But the next best thing to that is they do have animals, like animal drawing, using the draw box method. And it's not that hard to extrapolate the understanding of spatial relationships and stuff like that into drawing humans. In any case, like I do think that going through this stuff would help me tremendously. So I'm gonna put a thumbtack in this about making a Drawbox themed class series in the future. We're pretty close to being done. I'm just gonna give a quick plug for my Patreon, and I want to do a shout out to the. I see somebody actually just became a new patron here. There we go. Nicola Fola just pledged $1. Thank you very much. It's $1 or $5 to sub to my Patreon page. $1 gets you. Let's see here. Here's the public page. Yeah, I'll link that in chat for y'all. Yeah, my Patreon page has like high quality versions of my class demos, high quality images of my class demos, and you can get access to those for $1, and you can also get access to the PSD file versions of the class demos for $5 a month. I want to put in a $10 tier in the future. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for that just yet. Also, I do want to mention that I am open up to art commissions now. There's information on my Twitch page down below, or you can DM me in Discord if you're interested in getting an art commission. Prices will be between around like 15 to 25 for like sketch to color portraits, I think. Full figures, I'm not too sure if I'm that confident in at the moment, but full figures would be more. But yeah. If you are interested in getting commission, just contact me. But anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here, and tomorrow will be Costa's kind of psych you up class around 2 p.m. Pacific time for you to check out. I'm going to be calling it a night, but I will make sure that Drawbox stays up on my desktop. Whoops. I'll make sure that Drawbox stays up on my desktop so I remember where I left off when I come back tomorrow. Because, like, I was talking here, remember, I was talking tonight about... You know what? I'm going to write that down, actually. So, let's see here. A box class B. Line. Drills, line quality drills. Rotate canvas. Traditional. Sketching. And big for dexterity. Anything else I left out here? Anyway, we're starting to lose people when I wanted to we're starting to lose people when I wanted to do a raid. So I'm gonna find a channel to raid for us real quick. So please stick around if you're some of the last 35 people that are here. I will put you on a raiding course to a suitable art channel. Let's find one here. I'll preferably find someone who I already know, or someone who looks like a really interesting artist for us to check out. I'm going down the list in Twitch right now. Megan Animation might be a good one, actually. Just look down to see who else is active. I'm leaning heavily towards her, though. Yeah, we'll do Megan Animation. She'll be fun to raid.
Gabby was game.
Running ads right now. Just let me before. I've been meaning to do this, and I really apologize for this. There's going to be a 60-second ad break, and then we're going to raid Megan Animation's channel. Okay, just let me do this real quick. You're helping me out just by sitting in here when I run an ad break like this. It's just going to be 60 seconds, and then we're going to do a raid. And we should be back. So I'm gonna have you raid Ray Give Animation. I'll show her channel on screen real quick. Here they are. But they're a really super talented animation industry person, character designer from the animation industry who also has a comic, a webcomic that they do. They've also got an Instagram. They're like where I would want to be and where I probably could be in some respects. I hope like a year or two from now. To get more drawing experience than about. It looks like that they are doing It looks like they're doing some kind of a timed figure pose session or something. You could probably join in on and get some life drawing stuff in with them. So yeah, check them out. Yeah, it's study night actually, isn't it? It's interesting. I have to find out what their study night is. Maybe I can plan around that. Yeah, I'll find out what their schedule is. That's cool. Alright, so we're going to raid them now. Everyone get on board. Also, I want to congratulate everyone who stuck around here. Oops.
Congratulations! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations! Thank you all.
Alright, we got 30 people ready to raid. There's 5 people who haven't joined the raid. But I think that's enough to raid with right now. Oh, there we go. 31. 31, come on. Well, we got 30, so I'm just gonna raid now. Thank you all for coming. See you either tomorrow or next Wednesday.